Davis hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night.
What a call there by the Hall of Famer Joe Buck. That was Game 6 of the 2011 World Series, and what a World Series it was as the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Texas Rangers. And Joe Buck, look, if you're an NFL fan, and who isn't, he's a soundtrack for your Monday nights on Monday Night Football. Well, he's returning to the booth. He's going to be calling his first national Major League Baseball game on opening day 2021, Thursday, March 27th, 3 o'clock Eastern at Yankee Stadium. It'll be the Brewers and the Yankees. And Joe Buck replying to that tweet on Twitter, only doing this because I missed the "why do you hate the Yankee shots" on Twitter. Both sides are wrong. Anyway, it's going to be a fun. Can't wait. Actually, saddle up. And Joe, I want to begin there because I always find it fascinating. How do you both hate every team and root for every team, according to the fans?
Yeah, it's something that I see therapists for. I think that's why God created those people. It's kind of comes with the territory. I know my dad dealt with it. I remember my dad and Vin Scully talking about it in St. Louis one time when they got together. But back when my dad was doing it for 2 years with Tim McCarver, somebody would have to actually write out a letter or just paste letters from a magazine just to
like
make some
ransom
threat. Note. Yeah, and there he is. How you doing there, Buck? And they would have to lick an envelope and put a stamp on it and send it to you. And I, for basically a quarter of a century, was the guy calling all the national games when they mattered most. And that is when social media was brought to all of our laps. So it kind of just becomes a thing when you do the national games. Joe Davis, I'm sure, dealt with it last year with the Dodgers playing the Yankees. That's just the way it is. When people perceive you to get excited for the other team, which is your job, then they assume that you're against them, which you're never against them.
Robert, I saw it firsthand. I mean, when I call games with Joe, I'll never forget the World Series, San Francisco, Kansas City. And we're in San Fran, and they're yelling at Joe from the booth, "You're a Royals fan, Buck, and I'm like, well, that won't happen in the Midwest. Those people are so nice. And we go to Kansas City, and they bury him in Kansas City.
Yeah, you're a Giants fan.
He did that so well. But, Joe, I want to ask you this. Going football to baseball, you've done this forever. But the one thing I noticed working with you was your prep. You were always prepared for every situation, knew the rosters with the ever-changing rosters or whatever it might be. How do you prep for baseball coming out of football now?
Yeah, it's the one piece of this puzzle that I've thought a lot about, Harold. I've been a fan, obviously, for the last 4 years. I haven't done a game, really. I did one game last year with the Cardinals, but I haven't done a national game since 2021 World Series. And I can't act like I've been up on every transaction the Yankees and Brewers have made, let alone the rest of the league. I've never done a game really where I've been in charge of it with the pitch clock. So there's a lot of catching up to do. And I think the easiest game to do is the first game of the season. You've got all the spring training stories. You've got what happened last year. You've got what the hopes are for this year coming up. And you kind of just do the first game, enjoy it, and then leave it to everybody else to cover the next 161, the way I look at it. But it's a piece of it that I'm going to work real hard to get ready for opening day. I just found out, I don't know if you guys know this, but Juan Soto last year was with the Yankees.
Yeah.
And this year, he's on the Mets.
I know.
Who knew that?
It's crazy, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, let's talk about
how good is your control room, by the way? That just dawned on me, and now we've got pictures of some random Met guy.
Good, Joe.
And here's another one, Joe. The Brewers won the NL Central last year.
What?
How about that?
No way.
I know.
And what a job Craig Counsell did. Huh?
Yeah. Craig Counsell's with the Cubs now. I know that's everyone's.
Are you kidding me?
No. We were as shocked as you were when you heard about it last year.
Within the division. He went within the division. Who would have ever known? And here's the thing. There's going to be people on social media. They're like, this guy's a moron. He doesn't know that Craig council manages the Cubs.
I know. I'm going to wait for those tweets as well.
I do want to bring some of your knowledge, though. Bob Uecker, speaking of Milwaukee, this will be the first time games without Ueck. I know you had to spend some time with him. Tell us about Ueck a little bit.
Well, I got to spend time with him when I was a little kid, because when he would be around at Busch Stadium, or I would be on road trips with my dad, everybody gravitated to Bob Uecker. And my dad was obviously the Cardinals broadcaster in the 60s when he was playing catcher for the Cardinals. And his friends were all the guys that I grew up around, like Mike Shannon and Roger Maris when he would come back into town. That he had such a far reach in the game, and everybody would tell you that he was the most naturally funny guy that they were ever around. So yes, we saw the Tonight Show appearances, and yes, he was great with the Brewers on air, and yes, those years with Costas and Morgan on NBC, awesome. But it was the team bus rides. It was in the team hotel when they'd be checking in at night. The funny things would just fly through his mind and out of his mouth. I said on Twitter yesterday, or X or whatever we call it, that he reminds me of my dad, in that he just made every room he was in brighter. And when he passed away, he left with the gas tank needle on empty. He just had a blast while he was on Earth, and he will be sorely missed. It's why I wanted Bill Schroeder in the booth. They let me pick who I would do the game with, and I wanted a Yankee guy, and I wanted a Brewers guy, and I want Bill to be able to talk firsthand about what it was like traveling around with Bob Uecker.
So let me ask you about Joe Girardi real quick, because you called one of his biggest hits of his career.
That's right.
And now you're working with him.
Yeah, I did. You're talking about World Series, and then I made Tim McCarver mad when he coasted or dived into third base, and I said, he runs well for a catcher. And Tim used to say, I hate that, because, catchers can run. I can run. Catchers can run. Who cares if they catch? You got to be able to run, man. And so, I not only that, I covered him as a player forever. He was a Cardinal for a minute. He was with the Cubs and was there and made the announcement when I was at Wrigley when Darryl Kyle passed away, 3 days after my dad passed away. And then he was manager of the Yankees, and I was covering his games. I've always thought the world of Joe. Very smart guy, was a really good manager, and I can't wait to spend 3 hours or however long game times are now with a pitch clock, 2 hours and 10 minutes.
They move, Joe.
You're going to love it. That police escort will be ready quick.
Hey, you mentioned Tim, the late, great Tim McCarver. You had a chance to work so many years with him. You worked with Smoltzy a lot. But during your football days and during football season, you have a chance to work with one of the best. And I told you during the break, Troy Aikman, I thought this year his commentary was just so pointed this year. You guys had an excellent season. What's it like working with Troy Aikman? It's been a while now.
I've said this before, years ago. He and I have been together for 23 years, and I learned after a few weeks why he won 3 Super Bowls. He is not going to be, to talk about what Harold talked about earlier, out-prepared. He gives everything he's got. I think the beauty of him is he won 3 Super Bowls, so he knows what that takes and what that's like. And he is very fair. He's never out just to make a comment, to make somebody mad, or to get clicks, or to get headlines, or to be on social media. He's just honest. He's raw. He's there. And if he likes a call, he'll say it. If he doesn't like a call, he will say that too. And that's about referees. That's about a play call. That's about whatever. And he's earned it. These guys that have been down on the field, like the man to your right, Harold, they know what it's like to stand in against a 96-mile-an-hour fastball and have to put it in play. And I always defer to those guys. And for Troy, he's the ultimate team player too, on top of all that. So we've been together for a long time for a reason. We just enjoy being in the same booth.
Well, you guys were tremendous this season. So you're going back to baseball. We love that, and we thought we would play one.
Got a little something for you, Joe.
One of our favorite games. Know your minor league teammates. Now, you had some minor league experience. You called games for the Louisville Redbirds back in. When did you start that? Was that '89?
'89.
Okay, so here we go. This is the AAA All-Star game back in 1989.
Oh
Look at that hair. Look at that hair. I actually was so nervous that night. I was doing the sidelines for the AAA All-Star game in Columbus, Ohio. I grew a zit. I was so nervous. And I think, still in the throes of puberty that I had the beginning, the middle stages, and the end of a zit during the course of one night.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm sorry to throw you off. And
I love that because, skin care is my life, Joe, so I'm all about that.
Yes. No, I can tell. You're gorgeous. You glow.
Hey, so we thought we would, digitize one of those 1989 Louisville Redbirds and see if you can come up with the answer. Let's get it started here. Let's see if you can pick up the image right here. I mean, you got to know.
Todd Edward Zeal.
There you go. That is correct. Todd Zeal.
Tell us about Todd with the birds back then.
Oh, he was the guy. He was the knight in shining armor coming through the system, and he and I became best friends. He was one of the best men in my wedding. We're the same age, and now he's working at SNY, and I couldn't be more proud of him. He just was a really smart guy, and I, in some ways, kind of miscast because he was doing crossword puzzles before they were cool. So he was a special guy.
You got to get on Wordle, by the way, Joe.
Oh, I'm on. I'm on. And the athletic Wordle needs to be a little tougher.
Okay. All right. Tougher. I'm going to dive into that. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see if you can come up with the right answer here. Oh, I mean, you got to know this.
Mike Jorgensen.
There you go, the manager of the 1989 Louisville Redbirds.
Who Leon Durham was our first baseman, and Mike was our manager. And I was a traveling secretary, too. And I remember getting into it with Mike one time because our plane was late. And when I say our plane, the American Airlines plane was late. And so we had to stay over the day in Tidewater. And I said, well, we've got some rooms for guys to stay in. One of them was Mike's. And he was not happy about that. He's like, I'm going to tell you right now, that's my room. These guys are not coming into my effing room. And then the beauty of it, I said Leon Durham was our first baseman, who was awesome. And he called Mike Jorgensen, whose nickname was Jorgie. He called him Jergy. So I think for the season, he thought that Mike Jorgensen was Sonny Jurgensen.
Hey, they're easily confused, those two. All right, we got a couple of more here. Here we go. We got throw up the image here. I mean, this is the beauty right here.
Ted Power.
Ted Power is the correct answer.
Nice. The mustache give it away or what?
Yeah, it did. I mean, just like the Marlboro Man. Just a guy that just looks like he should be. He could have been Han Solo for all I know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
We need more
Cincinnati
mustaches like there. All right, just a couple more. Let's throw up another one. This is also a pitcher.
Bob Tewksbury.
Bob Tewksbury.
Got mad at me one time, man. We became best friends, but I was on the air and he threw and hit a guy. And I said, Tukes is not trying to hit him. I mean, he doesn't throw that hard, so he's not going to hurt him. And then an inning later, I get a call in the press box, come over to the phone. And he had called me from the clubhouse and said, hey, tomorrow, if you think I can't hurt somebody with a fastball, you stand in there and I'll hit you with a fastball.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm sorry. How did you hear that? Weren't you on the field?
Yeah, that's a good point. How did he hear that? That's crazy. All right.
Everybody's got spies.
We're going to go away from the pitcher's mound. Outfielder.
Alex Cole.
Alex Cole is the correct answer. Joe Buck is on a heater right now.
I still got it, baby.
You do. You got anything on Alex Cole?
Great glasses.
Okay.
Great glasses. I love it.
He could fly.
All right.
Perfect score.
Perfect score. This is the most difficult one.
Yes. Hap Hudson.
Hap Hudson, the team trainer for the Louisville Redbirds in 1989. I love the fact that Hap even has a card. That's great respect.
What was the Hap stand for? Is that a nickname or is that his name?
I don't know. Maybe haphazard, which you probably wouldn't want your trainer to be named.
Yeah, man.
Well, Joe, we appreciate you joining us this morning. Once again, we're thrilled to hear hear those pipes in the baseball booth for the Brewers and the Yankees. Can I say one thing before we go?
You may. It drives me. Andrew Marchand found out about this because I'm working with Girardi, who works for Yes.
Yeah.
And I love Andrew, obviously. But now I'm talking about doing a game. We're in February. Nobody cares. And I'm sitting here talking about I'm going on a press tour because I'm doing a game. Let's just do the game. We'll have fun. And thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Joe. The sport misses you, though. I mean, you carried those World Series. We missed that. So appreciate you being back for at least one game.
Yeah. Yeah. One and done.
Well, Joe, we appreciate the time, and we look forward to hearing your call between the Brewers and Yankees on opening day. Thanks for the time, Joe.
Thanks, guys. And I'll be stealing all your stuff. I'll be watching you guys every day between now, as I already do, between now and opening day.
Feel
so
free.
if you say it, it's going to come out of my mouth.
I love it. I love that. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the offseason. We'll talk to you soon. That's the Hall of Famer
See you guys.
Joe Buck joining us here on Hot Stove.